Hey, good evening. This is Melissa coming back for episode four. Yeah, episode four of Honey Bee. Less doing, more being, where the journey home begins. So, you might notice I have these beautiful flowers next to me here, and they're actually real flowers. I'm kind of excited. I got the opportunity to actually do my own arrangement. For the first time in a long time, I actually did flower arrangements at 17 at a grocery store when I was in high school, but haven't done it really since. And forgot how much I enjoyed doing artistic things like that. So anyway, I want to just kind of share a quick story with you again to kind of highlight again how important it is for us to just focus more on being ourselves and begin to shed off some of those old layers that we've all learned over a period of time in order to survive so that we can reach the point in our lives where we can really forget the survival techniques and begin to really thrive. So, long story short, this is really my year of saying yes to a lot of really new things. And recently I said yes to a friend of mine that I hadn't spoken to in a while, but she was having a wellness event that she asked me to come and be a panelist for. And it was a lot of fun. And I learned a lot and just kind of enjoyed the experience. And after the event, I ended up meeting another woman that we spoke and we really connected actually after the event. And it's interesting because she came up to me afterwards and asked me some questions privately that she said, and wanted to share some things about the questions that she asked regarding her son. And we ended up connecting and had very similar experience with our children and really connected over that. She ended up sharing that this is really new for her. And I asked, what? She said the coming up to somebody that she didn't know and just kind of cultivating a conversation. She said, I'm not used to doing this, so this is really new for me. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then she invited me to speak at something that she was going to be having. She said the following month she was going to be having a women's event that she hosts every year for about the last 5 years, I believe she said. And she was also looking for somebody to help her out with it. And to give some perspectives on mental health. And I jumped at the chance. She seemed really sweet and we really hit it off. And so she ended up texting me a couple weeks back. And so that event actually was this past weekend. And it's funny. So, old me, I went to the event thinking that I was going to be able to help her. You know, that's what I was there to do. By personality, I'm an Enneagram 2, and so we're called the helpers. We like helping people when we can. But little did I know that actually the event was really ordained to help me. And so I drove there. It was about an hour and a half away from my house, and I woke up early on Saturday morning, excited to go. Woke up to a flat tire, which I was not happy about, but thankfully I had my older vehicle that I was able to drive and still get to the event on time. I met several fantastic women that were doing really amazing things. Um, but I realized at some point as I was sitting there waiting for my opportunity to be able to speak and help, I'll say that in quotes, I really realized that the event was there for me, that really the universe, God had ordained me to be there. And I'll tell you why. First thing, I was parking my car after driving down some uh, very country Texas streets in the middle of nowhere and thinking I was lost for a period of time, but finally finding my location. And I pull up and start to kind of get settled to walk in, and I see another woman that I recognize walking in. Woman I haven't seen in probably 10 years, if I were to guess. We used to work together. So when I walk in, I realize that she's one of the speakers at this women's retreat that was called Rest, by the way, which was really the purpose was for women to come together and have really a whole day of really just resting, reconnecting with one another, and learning some tools to be able to really implement in their own lives in different areas, learning and connecting with one another. So I began to listen to this speaker speak, and she had written a book about her experience with her then ex husband. Um, And it was fascinating. She gave a lot of tips on really a lot of the things that she did wrong out of her own personality and patterns from the past, and really all that she learned that was really humbling for her. Well, as she was sharing her story, I recognized that her story was my story. I was married in the past before, and really recognized that although her story was different on the outside, it was very similar on the inside, which was basically that she felt that she was the prize in her relationship. And when she married her husband at the time, um, she didn't treat him very well out of her own insecurity. She made a lot of mistakes that resulted in the end of the relationship and her spending a lot of time single and really being humbled and being able to learn some very foundational things about who she really was, her true identity, that she didn't need to control and manipulate, and that really a healthy relationship is built on two people that are both a priority to one another, not one that's higher or more important than the other, but really two people that are willing to be there for each other, and kind of her transition through that time and where she is today. Um, and I really realized that although I was at the opposite extreme in my previous marriage, I actually felt the opposite extreme that she did. She thought in her marriage that she was the prize. So therefore, she didn't treat her husband at the time very well. I actually did the opposite. I thought that he was the prize and that I was so lucky to have him, but the result was the same. Yeah, it was so interesting. So whether we're on one extreme or the other, really where we feel like we're better than somebody, or whether we feel like somebody is better than us, both ended up at the same result, which is really being humbled, a relationship not working out, and really having to refine and uncover who you really are in order to be able to have a healthy relationship, really with anybody. So as I listened to her story, I just kept hearing this voice tell me, her story is your story. And just like she said in her sharing, that she needed to be humbled. And that's why really it's her kind of her ministry now to share with women how to really identify who they really are, because once you do, you don't have to play all the games that oftentimes um, women do in relationships, in any relationships, whether it's a romantic relationship, even relationships with our children or at work. So a couple things came up for me. I see this oftentimes in the work that I do. I've even identified it obviously in myself as well, where we start to pretend that we're okay with things that we're not, right? Like maybe it starts off with a job interview and recognizing very quickly in the job interview that maybe we're not the best fit for the job. Maybe it's really not the best fit for us, but we still play that game, right? You know the game, of saying all the right things, saying the things that you know the employer wants to hear. And then when you get the job offer, taking it. Maybe even though it's less money than you want, or not in a location that's ideal for you, or doing a lot of things that maybe you don't like doing, or even worse, you have no experience in, but you pretend like you do, only to then 6 months, a year later down the line, recognizing that this isn't the right job for you, but you knew it at the interview. But again, we've all been taught to play that game. Um, i- Only to recognize that at some point it just doesn't work, and then we have to move on, or it only gets harder in time to unwind. Or of course, like the speaker shared, how that looks in relationships, right? Like we put our best foot forward in the beginning of a relationship, pretend like we're okay with things that we're not, um, just kind of for the incitement or for the have a good first impression, right? Well, basically all a good first impression is lying, not being true to yourself, not being true to the other person. And then again, 6 months, a year down the line, being unhappy with the results because whatever that thing was not the right fit for you. So it's just kind of more evidence, again, to just being ourselves, whatever that means, being really honest, number one, with ourselves, whether a job, a situation, a circumstance, a relationship works for us or not, and just being honest, right? Because it's like we can cut out that middle ground and begin to identify what does work for us, right? In all areas of our life. That's definitely what I've been going through, is helping myself to be able to be really brutally honest with what works, what doesn't work, um, so that I can attract and participate in the things that work for me. I hear it every day, right? We're unhappy with things that are not working for us. Well, they're not working for us because we're not being honest. They might work for our personality or our false self, but really that soul that's within each one of us knows what it knows, what it knows. It knows what's good for us. And eventually, we can only be the imposter for so long. And the imposter just means that we're doing something that's not authentic to us. So I hope this helps, and I hope this puts a fire in you a little bit like it did in me, to really question when I'm making decisions about things in my life, where I'm going, what I'm doing, even restaurants I'm eating at, things people are inviting me to, opportunities that I might engage in, people that I allow in and out of my life. Does this work for me? And just being honest with myself. It will help on the front end and even more so on the back end. It's a learning experience. And I know I'm taking it one moment at a time. Even in my journey here, you know, it feels overwhelming at times to think about making a video, but this is who I'm choosing to be. This is the direction that I want to go. I want to help other people to uncover who they authentically are. Because if we're all being who we authentically are, there'll be a whole lot more peaceful, happy people in the world. And I think we can all use a little bit more of that. All right. Well, I look forward to hearing your comments. Please like, subscribe, and share if you are so inclined. And I look forward to seeing you at the next recording. You have a wonderful evening. And don't forget, honey, just be.